Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Super Heavy Samurai Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for December 2022. I've actually, didn't realize that it's been a couple years since the last update to my Super Heavy Samurai deck. It's a really awesome deck that focuses on not using any spell or traps, being able to just have monsters be the sole focus for your main play in the deck, which are your many different synchro summons, and then also being able just to utilize some of the other generic hand trap monsters to help with the playstyle, whether it's giving your opponent some kaijus if you use with your Super Heavy Samurai Battle Ball, destroying your opponent's own spell traps, or utilizing them yourself with cards like your Super Heavy Samurai Warlord Susanoo. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for our main go-to monsters in the deck, we're running one copy of Big Benkei. I feel this is really all you need. You can easily set up Benkei with other cards in your deck. So one copy is good enough. If you have any other copies, you're going to use Benkei for cards like going into your synchro play for your Susanoo, which will be one of your other big go-to boss monsters. But once you get one Big Benkei on the field, that's really all you need, because your other big boss monsters will fall in under your synchro monsters. With this card, when it's normal or special summon, you can change its battle position, and Super Heavy Samurai monsters you control can attack while in face-up defense position if you do apply their defense for damage calc. So it helps with that, but a good majority of your other synchros also have this same card effect. I also, for the 3-ofs, run 3 copies of Super Heavy Samurai Wagon. When it's normal or special summon, you can change its battle position. This card can attack while face-up in defense position, and if it does, apply defense for damage calc. If you have no spell traps in your graveyard, you can change this card to face-up defense position, and if you control with it to attack position, if you do, add 1 Super Heavy Samurai Soul monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Super Heavy Samurai Wagon once per turn. So the big play with Wagon is being able to search out your soul cards, because these soul cards help with you being able to get your search, those being the weapons you see in Wagon's card art. So along with Super Heavy Samurai Wagon giving you a special summon option, you run 3 copies of this and also 3 copies of the one go-to search soul card, which is Super Heavy Samurai Soul Peacemaker. You can target 1 Super Heavy Samurai monster you control, equip this monster from your hand or field to that target. While it's equipped to that monster by this effect, monsters your opponent control cannot attack monsters except for that monster, and you can tribute a monster you control equipped with this card. For this card, by this effect, to special summon 1 Super Heavy Samurai monster from your deck. You can use this effect of Soul Peacemaker once per turn. This is another way to summon out your Big Benkei onto the field, just giving you that boss monster thanks to this card, and being able to utilize your Wagon when you summon it out, having no spell or trap cards, to change this card, this face-up defense position card, to attack position to get your Soul Search, to then equip the Soul Peacemaker onto it, tributing the monster and getting out your bigger Super Heavy Samurai monster. I also run 3 Super Heavy Samurai Scales. If your opponent controls 2 or more monsters and you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. If it's normal or special summon, you can target 1 level 4 lower Super Heavy Samurai monster in your graveyard, except for Scales, and special summon it in defense position. You can only use this effect once per turn. So Scales can be another option if your opponent controls 2 or more monsters and you control no monsters. So having your other monster in the graveyard be Wagon, you can special summon Wagon onto the field and then activate Wagon this way as being another special summon off of Scales. Scales can also summon out your tuner monsters for you to then special summon and go for the synchro play using this monster as well. And I also run 3 Super Heavy Samurai Flutist. You can tribute this card to special summon 1 Super Heavy Samurai monster from your hand during either player's turn. When a card effect is activated that targets a Super Heavy Samurai monster you control, you can banish this card from your graveyard to negate the activation and destroy that card. So you can only use each effect of Flutist once per turn, but if you do end up having the Big Benkei in your hand, you can at least tribute Flutist to summon it out that way as well, giving you the bigger boss monster on the field, but it can also just give you other Super Heavy Samurais from your hand and setting up Flutist in the graveyard to then protect your bigger Super Heavy Samurai monsters that you'll summon out onto the field. The last of the 3-ofs that I run for them is another soul card, and that is Super Heavy Samurai Soul Piercer. You can target 1 Super Heavy Samurai monster you control, equip this monster from your hand or your side of the field to that target, and it gives it piercing battle damage. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 Super Heavy Samurai monster from your deck to your hand, except for Soul Piercer. So this can be a search of for your 1-ofs. If you have the Flutist in your hand and you just need a better target, it can search out Big Benkei. Having the search for all these options into Big Benkei Benkei is another reason why I'm only running one copy of it in the deck. For some of the lower numbers for the Super Heavy Samurai monsters, I also run 2 Magnet. When it's normal summon, you can special summon 1 level 4 lower Super Heavy Samurai monster from your hand, then change this card to defense position. Just another way to swarm the field. One of our Link monsters that we go into is Super Heavy Samurai Scarecrow. So if you go for Magnet and then use Magnet to special summon out your wagon, you can have the 2 monsters there. Then you can go for the Link summon using the 1 Magnet on the field, and then being able to use the Magnet play, the wagon play that I spoke of before, thanks to summoning it out onto the field with your Super Heavy Samurai Magnet. It's all that setup when it's normal or special summon and changing its battle position, even having that initial play just with wagon to begin with, since you change its battle position when it's normal summoned out on the field. And I also summoned 2 Super Heavy Samurai Big Waraji. If you have no spell or trap cards in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. After it was special summoned this way, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except for Super Heavy Samurai monsters. And you can have this card be tributed for the tribute summon of a Super Heavy Samurai monster, counting as the 2 tributes. Having the no spell or traps in your graveyard just gives you another special summon on the field as well to use with your level 2 tuner monsters to go into some of our level 7 options, including the Super Heavy Samurai Stealth Ninja, which can attack your opponent directly. And for some of the other lower numbers, I run 1 copy of Gauntlet for the bigger attack boost that this card can provide. The 1 Soul Horn, you can target a Super Heavy Samurai monster and equip it with this card from your side of the field or your hand. It can make a second attack during each battle phase. So with how big some of the defense some of these Super Heavy Samurai monsters have, this can be the game-winning play thanks to Soul Horns. And 1 Soul Claw, making it so your Super Heavy Samurai equipped with this cannot be destroyed by battle, and also boosting its defense points. These can all be searched off of Wagon as well, which is why Wagon is such an important card in the deck for you to use. For the tuner monsters, I run 3 copies of Super Heavy Samurai Trumpeter. It's an easy special summon, and also if it were to be tributed for the summon of a Super Heavy Samurai monster, you can just special summon it back onto the field if you have no spell or traps in your graveyard, then giving you the level 2 monster to use for the synchro summon with your Big Benkei to go into Super Heavy Samurai Susanoo. And I also run 2 copies of Battle Ball. What's great about this card is you can use your opponent's own monsters for the synchro summon of a Super Heavy Samurai monster. It's a special summon, so remember that as well when you use it, but they just have to be the same level. So you can use a level 10 monster your opponent has and your level 2 Battle Ball to get around some of the restrictions of your cards, like your Steam Train King, which needs 1 Super Heavy Samurai tuner and 2 non-tuner. Since it's a special summon and not the actual synchro play, you can get around this limitation thanks to Battle Ball. I also run 1 Super Heavy Samurai Fist for a special summon and another level 2 tuner option to run in the deck. And for some of our generic monsters that we run, I run 2 Gameciel, the Kaiju, and 2 Jizukiru, the Star Destroying Kaiju, for the level 8 option with Gameciel, and then with the level 10 option with your Jizukiru. So you have the summons to be able to go into cards like Susanoo, using your Super Heavy Samurai monster like Battle Ball, and then the Steam Train King with your bigger Jizukiru. So having both of these options also gives you the play, if you open up both of them, to summon 1 to your opponent's side of the field and giving you the bigger Super Heavy Samurai monster to swing over it. With the last of the monsters in the deck being 3 Ash Blossom, just another hand trap to run while still keeping with the actual monster-only lineup in the deck. You could run Effect Veiler in the next spot for the deck, but instead I'm running 3 Swift Scarecrow. This card definitely does come in handy for the fact that we're running all monsters for the good majority of the deck. Swift Scarecrow allows you to then be able just to discard this card to end the battle phase and negate the attack that was coming at you, giving you 1 more turn to make a comeback with some of your Super Heavy Samurai monsters. The only spell that I run in the deck is the 1 Sekka's Light. If you have no spell or traps in your graveyard, you draw 2 cards. Also for the rest of this duel, after you activate this card, you cannot activate spell or trap effects except Sekka's Light. You can only banish this card from your graveyard to reveal 1 monster in your hand, shuffle it into the deck, then draw 1 card. You can only use each effect of Sekka's Light once per turn. So the biggest negative effect of this would be obviously you can't use Susanoo for its stealing of your opponent's spell and traps to use for yourself, but it gives you draw power. You have other Super Heavy Samurai plays to go into with this deck. You just want to rely on that additional draw that Sekka's Light can provide, and also banishing it means you won't have the spell or trap in your graveyard anymore for you to face some of the negative repercussions of your other Super Heavy Samurai cards. That is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. For the Super Heavy Samurai Synchros, I run one Susanoo. It needs a machine type tuner and one or more non-tuner Super Heavy Samurai monsters. So it's your big go-to level 10 boss monster. When you summon it out, it has the same defense attack options as your other monsters we ran in the deck. But also, with this card being able to take your opponent's spell or traps, if you have no spell or traps in your graveyard, targeting a spell or trap in your opponent's graveyard and setting it to your field, but banishing it when it leaves the field. So those are the resources you can take from your opponent thanks to Susanoo and use them for yourself. I also run the two Super Heavy Samurai Swordmaster Musashi. When this card is synchro summoned, you can target one machine monster in your graveyard, add to your hand. Also, if you have a spell or trap card in your graveyard, you cannot normal or special summon it or monsters with the name for the rest of this turn. This card can attack while in face-up defense position. If it does, apply its defense for damage calc. This is just another way to recycle some of the more important Super Heavy Samurai cards back into your hand for you to reuse later. What I also like with this play, since it just lets you add a machine monster from your graveyard to your hand, is if you have Jizukiru in your graveyard, this could be a card that's an answer just to give you a kaiju back into your hand for you then to tribute one of your opponent's monsters to give to them and hopefully have an easier monster so you get rid of than some of the more pesky boss monsters they may have. I also run one Shutendoji for the spell and trap destruction when this card is summoned. If you have no spell or traps in your own graveyard, clearing out your opponent's whole spell and trap back row. The one Stealth Ninja for the direct attack power this level 7 monster has. And also the one Sarutobi for this card. If this card can attack while in defense just like the other ones. Once per turn during either player's turn, if you have no spell traps in your graveyard, you can target one spell trap on the field and destroy and inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent. So this is more of a burn damage option as well. The one Steam Train King for more destruction power and also being able to banish spell and traps from both graveyards and do burn damage to your opponent as well. And the one Beast QB for the final Super Heavy Samurai Synchro for more of a boost in power, with this card being a level 9 Synchro monster. More difficult to get into, but more of a card to rely on when you need that power boost also. For more of the generic synchros in the deck, I also run the one Naturia Beast and the one Naturia Barkion for the spell and trap negation, and the one Borreload Savage Dragon to make use of the link monsters that we do run in the deck. For the Xyz monsters, I run one Gear Gigan X for the machine search power, just using two level 4 monsters that are machines. And then for the link monsters, I run two Super Heavy Samurai Scarecrow. It cannot be used as link material. While you have no spell or traps in your graveyard, you can take no battle damage from attacks involved with this card. If you have no spell or traps in your graveyard, you can discard one monster, then target one Super Heavy Samurai monster in your graveyard, and special summon it to a zone this card points to in defense position. You can only use this effect of Scarecrow once per turn, but it gives you search power and setup for once again some of your bigger boss monsters, or even just monsters you need for the setup from your hand onto the field, because once again, being able to discard, and as long as you have that one other Super Heavy Samurai monster that you may have used to summon out your Scarecrow on the field, you can easily go for that play. The last link monster I run is just the one Asa the Earth Charmer, another way to get more of your opponent's resources onto your own field for you to use. As for some of the go-to plays in the deck, you can rely on some of the bigger summons with your Super Heavy Samurai Wagon. One of the easier plays also revolves around Scarecrow. So let's just say you have one random Super Heavy Samurai monster and you open up your big go-to boss monster, your Big Benkei. So what you can do is you can just normal summon out that random Super Heavy Samurai monster you have, going for the link summon of your Super Heavy Samurai Scarecrow thanks to this card. And also with this play, if you have no spell traps in your graveyard, you can discard one monster to target a Super Heavy Samurai monster in your graveyard and special summon it to a zone this card points to in defense position. So you can then have that one Super Samurai as the target in your graveyard, discarding the Big Benkei. As long as you have that other target, you can special summon the Big Benkei as your other one back into the field. So thanks to that one card and this link monster, you're able to get the one boss monster on the field that also is protected thanks to your Scarecrow and can attack into your opponent for some of the bigger plays. Along with the Super Heavy Samurai Wagon, with this card, when it's normal special summon, you change its battle position. Then you can use Wagon to change its battle position once more, and that'll give you the search for your Soul Super Heavy Samurai card. You can add your Soul Peacemaker, equipping it onto this card, and then tributing the both with it equipped onto it to give you one other additional summon onto the field, giving you a bigger Super Heavy Samurai monster to utilize on the field. And then if you have other cards in your hand, like your Super Heavy Samurai Trumpeteer, you can summon that for that additional Synchro summon to then go into the bigger Synchro monster Susanoo on the field. And remember to always play your Super Heavy Samurai monsters if you can in defense position, because they can all attack while in defense also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy the video. It's a really awesome deck. Superheavy Samurai is one of my favorite decks from Arc 5. They just add so much to the playstyle, and I think we do have another, synchro monster or two that we still need to get in the TCG, so maybe even by this time when this video is released, we have word that it might be in Photon Hypernova. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira, Twig out.